Hey there, Alexis here, designer at GitLab. So I'm going to quickly show y'all how I, as a designer, review merge requests both in GitPod and in my local GDK. So what I have here is a merge request that I want to look at, and I want to review this, see how the design is looking and interacts. I go down here and I click Checkout Branch. So you want to copy all of this. You could do that manually, or you could just click on this copy button. And then you move over here. You want to make sure GDK is running within the GitLab folder. So I would type in GDK start. I've already done that, so I don't need to. Now I just need to paste in everything I just copied. And what that's doing is just moving us over to this branch so I can look at it. So now you can see we've switched. This MR is actually behind a feature flag. So if I don't enable this feature flag, I won't see the changes, which of course is important. So what you need to do is say feature enable, whatever the flag is titled. The entire thing has been pasted here for us, which is awesome. So we just need to copy that. And then we need to open up Rails console. I do that by just typing in Rails C. And it'll take a second. So we'll just wait for that to load up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you now see Rails console here. So again, I'm just gonna paste in or type in this feature flag, and I'm saying feature enable. If you wanted to disable it, you could type feature disable, but I want to enable, so I'm gonna go ahead and run that, and you could see that it's now been enabled from this information here. I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of Rails console, otherwise you can kind of get trapped in here, so just be a little careful. So now everything should be up to date, and I should be able to review this. So I'm going over to my local hosts, localhost 3000. I'm gonna refresh just to make sure everything is updated, and I should be able to see the changes. And I know that this pertains to comments and issues, so I'm gonna go ahead and find an issue in here and then see what it looks like. So I'll go to issue list. Go to an issue. All right, so we want to look at issue comments. And I do see this now. So in the screenshot provided, we see this new make this comment confidential option, and I could see that within here as well. So now I would do my review. I'd see how this interacts, see if I could break it. Basically, is the design what I intended it to be? And then any changes you want to make, you would then document within the merge requests and mention anyone working on it that you'd like these changes to be made and work with them, pair up with them. So that is reviewing in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it, but that's kind of high-level overview. To do this in GitPod, which some have said is a little easier, you would then go to GitPod. And the way you do that is by going to a project, and you see this GitPod button here, and there's also the GitPod option within the dropdown. So I'd go ahead and click on that, and that would open up GitPod. And GitPod, I mean, it looks fairly similar to what we just did, and that's by design. So this is basically this, and this is that preview window we were looking at. You can even pop this window out into another tab if you want to. And here's everything we need. So now we want to review that MR again. So we still need to figure out what it's called, but really you just need to know the first couple characters or numbers in here. And switching to this branch is fairly easy. You just go ahead and click master or main down here, and you could start typing in the reference to that MR, and you see it in this list here. I'm just going to click on it, and that is actually switching to the branch for me, so I don't have to type in that entire thing here. So instead of copying this, I'm just switching through this option down here. So that's switching right now. It looks like it's already done it. You can see that here. We're no longer on master. Now we're on this allow to set confidential notes branch. And it might be reflected here, but remember we need to set that feature flag. We need to enable the feature flag. So that's a little more complicated depending on how you look at it in GitPod. But really just kind of remember that this workspace GitLab tab is kind of like this. So it's kind of like the terminal. So how I would enable this feature flag is then typing Rails C here within workspace GitLab. Press enter and it should spin up the Rails console. So it's pretty familiar, just kind of in a different place. And then again, I would see what the feature flag is that I want to enable or disable, copy it, go over to GitPod, and just paste it in like we did before. And again, you can exit just so you don't get trapped in the Rails console. And then you should be able to see the changes within the preview here, just like we did before. It's very similar, just GitPod kind of does some of the steps for you. So like I said, this is pretty similar to what we just did, or maybe exactly the same as what we just did. This is that preview. And now we could just do the same thing. We go to an issue because we know this is pertaining to issue comments. So we would just have to navigate to an issue. And like I said, you could pop this out into a new tab. You can resize it, whatever you want to do. And let's click on an issue. And like you can still see this make this issue confidential within this comment now. So similar to what we just did. And now you can review it. You can make any design suggestions or changes that you needed to. But this is through GitPod. So some people find this a little bit easier to use. It's up to you, whatever helps you get this job done. But hopefully this was helpful and will help you review MRs as well. Thanks all for listening. See you later.